Hey everyone, today I'm going to be installing this circuit breaker on my solar. When I first wired my solar panels up to the solar controller, when I actually made that connection, I did it at night. It was late in the evening. I went in and got up the next morning and I did not have my battery switch turned on. So basically power was coming from the solar panels to the charge controller. But yesterday I came out and took my two solar cables that came from my roof and I connected them, positive and negative, and I was doing some other work out here and I noticed the lights flashing, and it's a sunny day, and it looks like I actually need to go through the configuration now. It's asking me for battery type, so I'm going to do that, and then in theory it'll start charging my batteries. But it wasn't able to get to the batteries, and that's an issue. That's an over voltage situation, and I was getting an error message on my solar controller, and fortunately I was up early and I was able to take care of it right away. But what I've done since then is a little bit more research, and I'm going to put in this switch. It lets you turn off your solar panel electricity flow before it gets to your controller. So I'm going to install this between the panel wires and the controller itself, and it's literally a breaker. My lines will come in and come out, and then I can actually shut off my solar panels so that they're not flowing into my electrical system. So I am going to put that in now. That was actually kind of a lucky discovery. I had read about these and then opted out on it, but after experiencing it, I think it's great to have one of these. So I should mention that this device is 500 volt DC, 1 in, 1 out, 32 amp DC circuit breaker. Here are my two solar lines coming in from up above, the roof. This is my shore power line coming in, and like I said, it's unfortunate I had to drill 2 holes. If you haven't seen that video, go watch it. But I think what I'll do is put this device right down in here. Seems like I've got some space there. The wires can come into it, and then they'll come out the top, and then they'll wire into here. So I'm going to have to make a couple more wires. Unfortunately, I still have some more of this. I had to cut these off, so I've got quite a bit of wire left to do that splicing into the next thing. Maybe I could even put it in here a little closer, cover up one of those holes. Maybe that's what I'll do. Okay, let's get going. Okay, what you do on this is there's a hole down in here, you drill that out, and there's another one down in here, and you drill that out, and that's what mounts to the wall. And then your connections come in through here. And this one, it's really hard to see on here, but positive is on the right, so we'll get positive here, negative here, and we'll come out, the same. Positive here, negative here, out, and then we'll connect to our solar controller. If you want to take this part out of your box, which I did, there's just a brace in here, and there's 2 clamps here, and what you want to do is put a screwdriver under each one of these together and pull them down, and then that'll release this from that, and then you can just put it back in when you're ready. I took it out so that I can mount the box without having all this in the way. Just mounted the box right there. Easy. Alright, you want to take off these caps, one on the bottom, one on the top. And then we're going to feed our lines up through here. It's a snug fit, but there we go. Alright, now let's feed this negative through. The hole is really pretty small, but they do fit. So then we'll feed both of these up through here. Sorry if my head's in the way. Work comes before video. I'm going to go make the other set of wires that'll connect here, come out here, and connect to the positive and negative on my solar controller. So I'll be right back. Alright, I've got my 2 cables made. I put some red on one of them so we know which is which. So now let's feed them back in here. It's really tight quarters in here. Alright, now the trick is going to be to get all the cables in place and get the wires back up here. It's tight. Alright, after I was wrestling with it, I was able to get it to snap back into the box, so now it's mounted in there. So now I'm going to push this little... Oh no, I forgot to have that on there. Oh man. Wonder if I can get by without that. Hate to take that off. Dang. I'm going to just push this up there and call it good. But this one, we're going to put one on there for sure. Okay. So let's screw this back on if we can. Alright, next steps. We are going to hook these two cables up to our solar charger. And all the connection identifiers are down on the bottom underneath here. So what I did was I took a picture of the bottom of it so I can see where everything goes. So I'm going to put these cables into the PV plus and the PV negative. So that's what I'm going to attach now. Then we'll flip the switch and see if it works. There's no reason it shouldn't. All right. Let's start with the negative. All right, it looks like all the cables are in. Here's the two that I just put in on the end. Here's the two coming from the battery. These two, positive, negative. Everything's solid. All right, good. Last step is just to put the cover on. There's just 2 screws. All right, we are in business. The switch is installed. In theory now, we turn on our battery on switch. Let me just make sure everything's okay here. That just came on. And now up is on. Okay, what does that say? MPPT, there we go. Okay, so that is in the on switch. Sweet. And then if we kill it, oh, sweet. The moon came on. Love it. I'm going to turn it on. Let them charge up. That was a little more work than I anticipated, so the fact that it just instantly worked and that it's now in place is the greatest thing ever. Definitely recommend it to all of you if you're building your own van. See you soon.